Melum Amir, today we are going to deal with main reasons for the failure of the construction claims. Construction industry is famous for claims. First and foremost, the word claim is to be avoided and substituted the word entitlement. Although there is no definition as such for a claim, the understanding in the construction circles is an entitlement becomes a claim only when there is a dispute. That is why pursuing a claim in full or part or not at all is a management decision, as the same as the potential to affect the future relations with the client. Normally, all the employers would like to have good relation with the client, and normally this claim is always an irritant. In contrast, the pursuing an entitlement is not a management decision, and it is part of the construction professional's normal duty. Preparation of entitlements. There are no standard procedures for the preparation of entitlements, as every entitlement is unique. One has to study the case very carefully, and the preparation is always for the worst case scenario. Entitlement preparation for the sake of preparation shall always fail. As the claim specialist, we usually have a checklist in relation to a claim before going through into detail, which usually have a load of documentation. The first step in the preparation of entitlement is to clear the checklist and come to a state where there is an acceptance of the entitlement in principle without the details. The devil is always in the details, as the final amount cannot be easily resolved. That has to be left to the next stage, as management has a role in such situation, as certain matters have to be dropped altogether or partly in order to reach some kind of amicable settlement. During my career as a client quantity surveyor, I regularly receive contractors' claim for extension of time and associated costs for various projects, which incidentally forms around 90% of all global construction claims. Most, if not all, are narration of events like stories with load of documents to substantiate the stories. I also noticed that in such situation, most of the contractors are using preliminaries, general items, as a base along with the formula for overheads without realizing that the cost is defined as not only without profit but actual cost involved. This is in line with the principle that the damage to the employer. This additional was not anticipated at the time of tender, and hence it is additional. It should be barest minimum possible, which is the spirit of contracts, all contracts. The most important aspect of claim preparation and acceptance by the employer is the efforts and suitable actions that are taken by all parties to mitigate the delays. No claim has ever succeeded in the past and shall not succeed in the future without mitigating efforts to keep the damage to the barest minimum possible. The employer's concern, which is the spirit of any construction contract, has to be addressed. Narrating the event do not address that concern. Notices, that too at the earliest possible and with all details, another factor in the preparation of entitlements. So much so that the entitlements are rejected in certain conditions of contract on grounds for non-submission of notices at the proper time. Although there is no definition as to what constitutes a notice, the spirit of practically all conditions of contract is that the contractor is an experienced one in the field, capable to bill for the intent and purpose, expected to keep the damage to the minimum possible, able to give alternative solution with lesser costs etc. come into play, with this respective notice. Just sending a notice letter is another narrative in the stories I mentioned above. A notice should be able to play an above set spirit of the contract. Then and only then it becomes a notice in the context of preparation of entitlements. Construction auditing standards. Construction claims services are very fortunate that there are no international standards for construction, to the extent that there are no standards as to how a government funded project to be awarded, let alone others. We have reached this stage because the construction professionals have allowed for a century the financial accountants to continue the auditing of government funded construction. That is why we have no graduate or postgraduate courses on construction auditing, no international standard for construction auditing, and no union for such auditors to have the process evaluation of such standards. That is why we are having a world record losses owing to frauds in government funded constructions, audited constructions. The estimate of such loss by Transparency International in 2018 was upwards of US $4 trillion per year. That is US 7.61 million per minute. Only God knows how much is now in the light of massive global government constructions that are taking place. In the absence of such a mechanism and a few case studies, the claims specialist reach a stage where your logic against the other, and naturally the person with better logic and presentation wins the race. That is why I was able to propose 68 numbers of global construction standards in my recent book titled Handbook for Technical Auditors of the Construction Industry. I hope the same shall be useful in the preparation of entitlements. Finer points of the game. There is another aspect which is often overlooked by the claims specialist. From the employer side is the balance of power, which is easily said as the benefit of doubt goes to the weaker party. This becomes more prominent if the affected party takes a matter to litigation. As the preparation of entitlements and winning sale is usually a battle, the entitlement must be prepared well and, as mentioned before, with barriers to safeguard from rejection from the claim specialist. It is usually difficult to get the acceptance even after best of preparation, as at the end of the day it involves parting with money. Giving an escape route, which is often difficult and sometimes impossible, to a contract specialist who check the entitlement shall go a long way in the acceptance of the entitlement. Negotiation of claims. The resolving of disputes called for a sound knowledge of the basic principles involved and the applications in practice. The fabric of which the contracts are made, experience of how, despite the great care, matters go every, and an understanding of people and why may motivate them either to make the most of any opportunity, however trivial, or simply try to recoup expenses to offset losses which they cannot afford. It is important that the quantity surveyor's opinion should be soundly based. For having accepted a claim on one occasion, it would be somewhat disconcerting to have a change in his ground for a future occasion, particularly when dealing with multiple claims. His argument must be consistent throughout. There are occasionally instances where a claim appears frivolous. There are also instances where the contractor may appear to be taking advantage of alleged defects in the contract document. It must be admitted that on occasion, a billed item looked at it in perspective when challenged by a contractor may well be seen to be an interpretation rather than different from that which the architect or the engineer had in mind when drafting it. This can happen to the best of us, but care and experience will do much to eliminate such slips. The contractor who sets out to be smart can be extremely trying, but the same token, an architect or the engineer who has no response other than no and who is unwilling to listen to others' argument can be equally trying. It could put his client in a situation requiring arbitration. It is usually forced to the quantity survey to advise the employer or the architect or the engineer as to the action to be taken regarding a claim. Well, there are some matters which can confidently be rejected and others equally confidently and ungrudgingly accepted. There are often intermediate matters where pure blacks and pure whites merge into a varying shadows of grey. In making a recommendation, he must always have due regard to the principles issue, and they should not be discarded lightly. Cost must be reckoned in terms of both money and time. In such situation, it should be possible for him to say to the contractor, after approval of the claim, I am sure I am right in principle, but without prejudicing those principles, I am prepared to recommend settlement of the claim in the following terms. Before opening the negotiation, he must be sure that the contractor's representative have authority to agree a settlement. If his own authority is limited, this should be made clear at the outset. It is essential to avoid negotiating in a climate of discrimination. An attitude of understanding need not to detract from the firmness in putting one's point of view. If he wishes to reserve this position and yet make an offer in an endeavor to obtain a settlement, he should make it clear such an offer is without prejudice to the stated contention, or that the employer's approval will be needed to be sought. In any event, once an offer has been accepted, you should try to get the payment made as soon as possible. Thank you.